You remember the leaks that came out a few days ago that kind of took the internet by storm? Like, we had multiple productions leaked early in advance. We had a bunch of, like, Season 2s announced. But one thing in particular that stood out to a lot of people was the state of ReZero Season 3. AKA, the director apparently was acting very foolish. Now, there wasn't a lot of, like, context given exactly what the director was being foolish about, but apparently the director was being foolish. And obviously, when I made my video a few days ago and I talked about this, I even made a comment saying apparently the leaker that, posted these leaks is a known ReZero hater. Now, here's the thing, I don't know if that's true or not. That's all I heard from the community and what people are telling me. The point is that when I was hearing all these conflicting things, I took the ReZero statement with a grain of salt, because a director acting foolishly is so vague that it can mean a variety of things. It can mean the director is being foolish as in they have such a big vision for the season that they're just doing something so over the top, so crazy, or the director is just absolutely a jerk and mismanaging the entire project. There's many ways to really take foolish. So because of that, I didn't really know what to say, and a lot of people were confused as well with that statement a few days ago. So we fast forward to today, and some content from yesterday. Ice, aka one of the biggest leakers for ReZero, and also the individual that is a part of the Witches Cult translation team, aka the individual that, or the individuals that translate the web novel of ReZero, aka the current ongoing content of the series. He's a part of that team. So if there's anyone that would know about the inner workings of ReZero, for instance, like the state of the anime, like for instance, if the anime is going to be an absolute dumpster fire, or if it's going to be an incredible show, it is definitely Ice here that would definitely know the deets. Now, obviously, I think for a while he's kept a lot of things close to the chest, because, for one, Ice probably doesn't want to get into trouble. Let's be completely blunt. We have all seen what's been going on for the last few weeks when it comes to, leakers and leaks and spoilers, etc. We've seen Japan crack down on this a lot. So, it makes sense that he would want to probably distance himself to some degree. But anyways, he broke his silence and he talked about, the conversation around the leaks and the ReZero Season 3 director being foolish. So, let's just dive into this. Let's read this post of what he had to say. He's like, so I woke up to quite the storm. Replying to the leaks that are floating about from 122 regarding ReZero and Masahiro Shinohara, let me just preface this first by saying I do respect 122's opinion on the matter. aka 122, I'm assuming in this case, is the leaker in question that leaked all the stuff we saw the other day. So basically, this is, in its own way, confirmation that yes, the information provided, even if you could take it with a grain of salt, obviously it isn't officially confirmed, you can definitely say that there is some credibility to it now with Ice mentioning about this. But anyways, getting back onto the point. However, I don't fully agree with the extent in which he portrayed it. The chances of Season 3 project collapsing and going to shit are minimum currently. In my opinion, especially with the constant sensible decisions to further split broadcast, I don't think all of Shinohara's decisions are foolish. And a lot of them will not be things viewers will see reflected in plain view. Now, I do want to point this out. He doesn't think all of Shinohara's decisions are foolish, which means that Ice here is implying there is some things that could be considered foolish, but overall, the negatives or the positives outweigh the negatives. So, that's at least what's being implied here. It's true that Shinohara has a not-so-professional history. Now, this one was news to me when I read this earlier. He has a not-so-professional history. Using public information before he deleted his Twitter account, his profile was literally just a bunch of middle fingers and a caption saying he wanted to change careers. It's also true that I would much rather have Watanabe on this project if we could choose, due to his immense reputation. This is a pretty interesting little background here. So basically, going into this project, I had no idea Shinohara had this, backstory, but apparently he is someone that's very crude and rude, I guess you could say, with this background information that Ice is giving us, and I was unaware of this, honestly. This is news to me, but, I could definitely see why, behind the scenes, why maybe some would not like working with this director if he acts like this, especially in a public setting and stuff. I don't know the full extent of everything he's done, but at the same time, it seems like he probably, could cause some friction within the work environment, depending if he likes you or not. Anyways, let's continue on. But with that said, my own opinion on Shinohara currently is that we should support him. And has so far. Despite everything or anything in the past or behind the scenes stuff shown to be stepping up to the job and producing results, and I have no reason to believe currently that anything done behind the scenes will cause ReZero Season 3 to utterly collapse. These are big words. So basically, there is some behind the scenes stuff that apparently he's doing, but it's nothing that's going to cause Season 3 to, as in Ice's own words, collapse. In fact, currently, I believe the total opposite and remain hyped and excited to see Season 3 in all its glory. I have a train to catch in 10 minutes, but if you have questions, I can try and answer them when I have the time. So basically, you know, Ice is busy. He comes back and he tries to answer a few things. I don't know why this is popping up. He tries to answer a few things here, basically talking about the state of the production, but he more or less outlines it better in this post the next day, aka something that came out about 13 or so hours ago at the time of me currently recording this video. So let's dive headfirst into this post that he made. So after yesterday, how about some actual positivity with leaks? Here's some things you should expect from the ReZero Season 3. Things that have really been hyping me up. Strong animation around priority episodes, especially with the average level of animation easily blowing Season 2 out of the water, with some episodes likely surpassing even the peaks of Season 1. Now, this is a pretty big detail that I think needs to be discussed before I go any further with this post. Basically, it seems like production is going pretty well with ReZero Season 3, and it seems like most of the major moments that's going to be throughout probably Arc 5, like the first and second core, is going to be mainly focusing, like, all the main animators, the big animators and stuff is going to be focusing on priority episodes, which is to be expected, because, without spoiling, Arc 5 is very action-heavy. That's as much as I'm going to say. And there is a lot of moments that definitely will require priority. 100%. And in a way, this season of ReZero, at least this core and the next core, is going to be heavily reminiscent of Battle Shonen. aka those that love, let's say, JJK, Hunter x Hunter, you get the point. Yeah, if you love Battle Shonen, this is going to be your type of season, because there's going to be a lot of action. And obviously, when it comes to stuff like that, those shows I just mentioned, Hunter x Hunter and like JJK and stuff, you know, there is episodes that obviously are very average or slightly above average, and then you have moments that just straight up blow your mind and you see them trend all over the internet. That's basically what's going to be happening with ReZero Season 3 with certain episodes. So I already have a good idea in mind what episodes are probably going to be focused on, or the priority. But this is nice confirmation. Overall, I'm really happy about that, and how, like, you know, overall consistency, it is way above Season 2, and its highs, like, its absolute best stuff, is going to be basically Season 1 or even above Season 1 level, which is good news overall, because, look, there is a lot of hatred for Season 2 of ReZero. Not a lot of people really talk positively about it, and I don't want to get into a whole ordeal of discussing this, but it does need to be said because it is relevant to this conversation here. Basically, ReZero Season 2 was good. Like, I liked it, okay? As someone that reads the light novel, reads the web novel, I like Season 2. Was it perfect? No. It had things cut, oh yes, but Season 1 as well had content cut, but people think that is the best thing ever. And I feel like the content in both, there's equal amounts of content that is indeed cut. And here's another thing that people don't realize. Season 2 aired in COVID times. Like, straight up, when COVID was basically at its peak in Japan, ReZero was coming out. So obviously there was a lot of layoffs, there was a lot of people that wasn't able to work, there were studios just straight up struggling, all sorts of stuff going on behind the scenes. So the fact that ReZero Season 2 even came out in the degree it came out in, and in such a good way, and even them cutting opening and ending credits to make it as best as they possibly can, I feel like people don't give enough credit to the staff of what they had to overcome at that time period to really present the product of ReZero Season 2. Yes, was the animation art quality sometimes not as good as Season 1? Yeah, I can agree with that. But I feel like a lot of people dismiss the obstacles that the entire team had to overcome just to produce that said content, and even went above and beyond, even despite the limitations, to make it as good as they possibly could. So, that's all I'm going to say. But anyways, I'm glad to hear that the consistency of Season 3 is definitely going to be above Season 2, because personally, I like Season 2, and if the consistency is going to be above that, I really don't expect many complaints whatsoever about Season 3 content, besides obviously the tonal shift, obviously being a little bit focused on action. Now, continuing on what I said here, a lot of animator names that those of the Sakuga community regard in high esteem. There'll be a lot of familiar faces from outside the Japanese animator sphere too, with Twitter WebGen animators also partaking in some episodes. So, aka, what's going on here is there's going to be a lot of freelancers, contractors, animators for hire that works around the world and all that. That means that it's a high possibility that some of the most well-known names in the industry that has made a lot of names for themselves as of late in the last few years could be potentially working on some form of action episodes of ReZero. I have a good idea of a few that's potentially going to be working on it, and so I'm pretty excited about this. This is good news too. Once again, very good news. A lot of care towards keeping this story script adaptation something fans of the novel will appreciate. I think that this is a big deal here. Obviously, there will be some cuts, but looking at the big picture, I've seen just how much Tappei's increased involvement in the project is resulting in even more subtle lore references being maintained. I think that this is a big deal that a lot of people need to understand, is that when it comes to anything that is adapted from a light novel or manga, especially from a light novel to an anime, there is always going to be cut content. And not everything can be adapted word for word because of just how narration is done within novels in comparison to an anime. And so, yes, there will be content cut, and that is definitely to be expected. And obviously, there's going to be some content that's cut that's probably going to upset people, and people are going to think is very important, but, it's not really going to change the grand scheme of things. Now, maybe it could. We'll have to see when it actually comes out, but there's always been cut content in ReZero. It just depends on how you view the circumstance or the content that is cut, but obviously with Tappei's involvement with the project, I'm not too concerned because obviously he wants to keep the lore intact, and we have seen that, he's definitely worked a long time now at this point in time with White Fox and the staff on ReZero, so I doubt that, they'll choose now of all times to really disregard him and not listen to him when ReZero is such a high priority project and property, especially, for Kadokawa, so I don't think they will necessarily mess this one up. A sensible, flexible-ish schedule that has changed a couple of times to reflect on the eternal status of things, so that things won't be rushed into panic stations as it airs. So I think this more or less is a little bit vague, but to kind of explain at least what I get from this, is that the reason why it has a flexible schedule is that it's doing the core system. We all know that ReZero Season 3 is going to be multiple cores. It's implied it's going to be about 4 cores. We know that we're going to be getting Core 1 this upcoming season, and I believe Core 2? It's coming in winter of next year, aka it's going to be coming in, January and stuff. I could be wrong there, don't quote me on this one, but basically we know that Core 1 and Core 2 of ReZero, etc., they're going to be split, and I feel like what's being mentioned here by ICE is that the flexibility of the schedule allows the animators to breathe and more time to work on said project and priority episodes, and allow them to properly pace the show out, so I think overall that's a good thing. Once again, more good news. In fact, last I know, production is already deep into the second core overall, and work on Arc 6 should have started too. Pre-production definitely did, even as early as 2023 for it. So this is pretty good. This is overall good news. Basically means that the episodes that's going to be coming out this upcoming season for ReZero is pretty much done. I'm assuming the only thing that they really have left is probably a few touch-ups here and there, but overall, Core 1's pretty much ready to go, while Core 2, as, ICE here states, is underway, being worked on, and probably almost concluded, or at least halfway finished at this point, while obviously, Arc 6, aka Core 3 and onward, is definitely already starting to be in its early stages of work, which is also very good news. It seems like it's a very healthy production cycle for ReZero. Killer VA performance, as is typical of ReZero, and great soundtracks to boot from Suehiro and Co. I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer. It's been fundamentally clear for literally almost 10 years now that the voice actors for the ReZero cast loves their characters. They voice their heart outs for these characters. I mean, we have all seen it. ReZero Subaru character, Natsuki Subaru's voice actor is just fantastic. Amelia's, Rams, we have seen Reinhardt's, we have seen a bunch of characters, like Garfield and all of them. Their voice actors go above and beyond to really deliver some good lines. And so I'm not really that concerned about the voice acting. It's always been good, so more or less it's going to stay as it always has, steady. some extended episodes as leaked beforehand by myself, but I don't know how many that'll be in total. Don't expect to go in expecting every episode to be in extended length, aka in typical ReZero fashion, there will be episodes that will be longer than the normal length, because obviously White Fox and the staff that works on ReZero have no chill, and they will try to give the best possible content for ReZero that they possibly can. So, once again, sticking to the true ReZero formula, a lot of passionate core staff on the project that may buy into the philosophy that the old core staff had left into the project. So basically means that the new staff that's working on it and stuff will, you know, carry on the will and the legacy that the staff that left behind. So this means that they are kind of more or less cohesive and working well together. So at least it seems like there is a lot of passion within the project. And so yeah, that's pretty much overall what ICE had to say about the situation. So I'm glad to have a lot of confirmation on the leaks. I'm glad to see that the director acting foolishly was kind of like, thrown to the wind. Obviously, there is some stuff there that's probably true, but it is good to see that overall, this confirmation with a lot of things that Season 3 is looking to be probably the best ReZero has potentially ever looked. And I mean, if it gets those animators that is the equivalent to what we got for like JJK and stuff, oh goodness. We're about to see some incredible stuff in the upcoming weeks. Like, I cannot wait. I really cannot. But I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe, stay healthy, and I love you guys. Chibi out.